Yes. Hello, everyone. Just wanted to talk about a lovely purchase I made on AtomicEmpire.com. You may remember that I've mentioned them many times. They are my go-to getter and place to go for all of these Wizkids minis. Actually, this one I got on MiniatureMarket.com. They were on sale. It's Emma Frost. It is, it's for one of their games. Okay. Clicks, Hero Clicks. But the miniature, I thought, could be used for fantasy games because if you look at it, it's just a wizard casting a spell. And you could paint Emma Frost as just a female wizard. So I thought that had potential. And it was 30% off, I think. So why not? In a similar vein, we have Warbird. Warbird is a fine character from the Marvel universe or comic books. And as you can see, it looks like a very nice ranger. Could be a ranger character for D&D. And I think the value is there since it was on sale. It is only one mini though, whereas these other packs, you'll notice, have more than one mini pack. Be forewarned, I bought about $600 worth of these things. So just to be forewarned. All right, these are the female goblin rogues. Female goblin rogues. Very nice. One could definitely use these. We'll get close-ups and stuff. I'll take photos and we'll get all the best shots that way. So I'm just going to go real quick here. The female goblin rogues look great. We're going to go to the halfling rogue. And again, we're just going to move very quickly here because, well, quite frankly, we got a lot of miniatures to go through, guys. So, Wizkids already had a halfling rogue. Now they have another one. So, that's just a lot of sculpts for the same race and class. But you can see why. I mean, there's going to be a lot of halfling rogues, and you don't want everybody to have the same miniature. So, alright, these are your Bodocs. Now, Bodocs are really cool. They are a demon. And in 2nd edition, I believe if they gazed at you, it would kill you instantly if you didn't make your death save. I think they've weakened them now, and I think it's a whale, like a sonic attack now. I could be wrong though, it still could be a gaze. I can't keep track. They've really weakened that stuff nowadays. Alright, this is the lizard folk. Now, keep in mind with this, every single demi-human and humanoid race in D&D now is a playable character, okay? So if it is, if it's humanoid at all, you're going to be able to play it as a PC with no negatives, which I think is cool. That's cool. Here is something a little different. This is from Magic the Gathering. It's Joraga Warcaller and Joraga Tree Speaker. Now, I have never played Magic the Gathering, so I'm probably butchering those names. But it's a really cool model, okay? And I thought it would be very useful as an elf. Looks like a female elf druid. Or a female elf fighter. Okay, so pretty cool. Here we go. Like I said, down and dirty. This is a really cool model, and it's going to be something you're not going to see all the time available. Yeah. So this is an undead lich style illithid called an alhoon. Okay. And these things are especially nasty because, as I recall, they're arcane. And if you remember, your normal mind flayer is psionic in nature. And they actually abhor magic. It's strictly forbidden. So to become an alhoon, they have to forego the community, go out on their own, which means they're typically very powerful members of the race, and definitely not to be messed with. Yeah. And it comes with 2 intellect devourers, which are in and of themselves very nasty, very dangerous little critters. All right, so another human sorcerer. Apparently the sorcerer is becoming very popular. So much so that they felt the need to bring out another one. Now the first one might have been Deep Cuts, I'm not sure. But I'm almost positive No Jures has made sorcerers before. Notice also that they don't have a gender or sex listed. So you have to actually look at the model and realize that this is a male. Looks like a male to me. However, whatever, you can call it whatever you want. I don't discriminate. Again, reasonably sure that this is already fertily covered territory, but again, you can never have too many barbarians, right? We do love our barbarians. These are fine miniatures for PCs, and yeah, I think it's a very nice model. Some really interesting poses. And this guy almost looks like he's from Asia, like in a real world equivalent, like he's Asian or Oriental or whatever term you want to use. Almost like a Mongol in our history, Mongolian. All right. Now, guys, I got a lot of ground to cover here. So, this is a bearded devil. Okay. If I remember right, it's called the Balbazoo. In the old days, in the Beihatazu era, the Balbazoo or whatever. It's a middle level devil. It's on the lower end of middle tower. Kind of the Taskmasters. They kind of pushed, if I remember right, they pushed the smaller, weaker devils around into the Blood War. So, kind of nasty, kind of like, the old, in the slavery days, you'd have the Taskmaster who went around and handled discipline. Alright, so, our next miniature is the Giant Spider Egg Clutch. Giant Spider and Egg Clutch. Very cool model. And can you believe this big old thing costs the same amount as two of these other littler models. Very cool. Can't have enough giant spiders. I've always said it's a great random encounter. It's also an amazing set encounter, and in the right circumstances, really a lot of potential there. Next up, the Revenant. So the Revenant is a really cool concept. In appearance, though, it's like like a white or a zombie, maybe a flesh golem dressed up pretty. But what makes the Revenant especially dangerous is, one, it's a lot more powerful. So this is a person who's died and come back to life for the express purpose, unlife, of killing those it feels has transgressed against it. And that is incredibly terrifying if you really think about it, because you don't know what could have offended this guy or gal. That one's a male, looks like. Yeah, definitely a male. So maybe they'll make a female version. Alright, Human Fighter. And this one appears to be of a more tribal nature with the weird shield spirit. Well, not weird, but just definitely not something you'd see in a European setting, but definitely a unique model. Yeah, they're just making a lot of different warriors. Based on, you're going to have a lot of different players, and they're all going to be playing fighters, okay? So yeah, having variety there is good. So here we go, Human Paladin. Same thing. You need variety. This one's a male, that other one's a male, so they neglect to tell you what sex they are or what gender, depending on what game we're playing here. And so you just gotta, guess, I guess. Okay, this is cool. So this is MTG, Magic the Gathering. And these are their goblins. And it so happens that I have the Magic the Gathering board game, which also has these goblins. And yeah, that look like this. So they're really neat little goblins. Definitely good to have a variety of goblins. Can't hurt anything. And, a PC goblin should look a little different, right? So there you go. Alright, Human Ranger. So we just talked about having variety. This looks like, let's see. This one looks like it could be male or female. No, it's male. Never mind. It's male. Let's see. Very ethnic. So yeah, definitely good to have a variety. This one appears like maybe it came from an African tribe in our world. That kind of motif. So that's cool. This is a multi-class character. Cleric and Wizard. Now I gotta say, we're starting to pander a little too much. This guy could just be a cleric, or he could just be a wizard. As a matter of fact, there's nothing he has that really. The shield on the bottom guy, so that But if you had a cleric, this could be a cleric. So yeah, it's a cool model. He's a balding guy with, kind of a friar tuck, or actually he looks like Larry from the Three Stooges. Yeah, Larry's a cleric mage. But like I said, it could just be a cleric. Or this one could be just a mage. You don't have to be multi-class. So I don't really even mind that it says multi-class, so forget saying it, because it's a cool model. Okay, here's another Magic the Gathering model. I don't know much about Magic the Gathering, but what I do know is there's a lot of intersection possibility, because Magic is basically D&D on card. For all intents and purposes, if you ignore the game mechanics of Magic and you look at the artwork. So, these say they're vampires, which they well could be. But there's nothing on this model that says it has to be a vampire. These could be human nobles. Okay. Now, as far as what they mean in the game, actually I do have a deck with the Hex Mage, so I know what she does. But, yeah, it's irrelevant. You can use them as vampires or whatever you want. You don't really see any fangs on them, so. And if there were fangs, that'd be cool. You notice, though, something I noticed, now that I'm looking at this wave. What is this, wave 12? These packaging, they've changed the packaging. Look at that. So, now these are really interesting. These are Kobold, Inventor, Dragon Shield, and Sorcerer. So we got some more Kobolds. If you remember in Wave 1, they had 3 Kobolds. But they've definitely changed the packaging on these, so it's less packaging. Seems like to me anyway. That's just, yeah. Or the packages are small. Seems like it. I could be imagining that though. Okay. Oh, okay, so these are your Pathfinder models. And again, variety in goblins is cool. So actually, right now we have 3 different goblins. Let's go ahead and explore that real quick, since we're talking about it. So you got your Magic, the Gathering goblins, your female Pathfinder goblins. Oh, I don't have any advantage against goblins. Never mind. But they look different too. So you've got 3 variants on the goblin. Okay? So that's going to give you a lot of options, guys. And that's really cool. We really do live in a blessed time for miniatures. Alright, next up is the Elf Ranger with their animal companion. Very cool. We do love a good Elf Ranger. Especially one with a bird. Maybe a hawk. I don't know. You paint it up to whatever you want it to be. Got a nice animal companion there. Could be really useful for the right player. Okay, or the right NPC, and that's another thing. Alright. Drow Mage and Drow Priestess. So this is clearly not meant to be a character pack, as they're 2 different classes, and I'm not going to even bother guessing what their sex or gender is. Really cool models though, if you look at them. Really neat. I really dig in that sorcerer, and actually I'm digging them both. They're really cool. Alright. Bullywugs. Now this is a pack you probably want to get several of, because Bullywugs never run alone, do they? They're always in a pack. If you go to a swamp, there's 2 things you can really expect to see: Bullywugs and black dragons. Although Frog Hemoth might be coming your way too. I have a couple miniatures for Frog Hemoths. We'll get into that later. Human Paladin again. So we couldn't have enough. Yeah, 1 human paladin is never enough. So let's have 2, and they are different poses. So again, we live in this miraculous time in miniatures where, yeah, if you want it, you got it, guys. It's there. All the paladins. So I guess paladins are popular. I remember back in 2nd edition, they weren't that popular because you had to be lawful good. And that was kind of, annoying. Here we go. Elf Sorcerer. This one's a female. And really cool sculpts, guys. I love these effects that they come out with on these. If you use inks, man, they really come out sharp. It's really an amazing time, I'm telling you. Alright, we're doing the multi-class thing again. Fighter, wizard, I'm guessing human, since no race was added. It's fine. What do they call those? There's a name for that. It's tell me in the comments. It's an old Gith Yankee name for a multi-class wizard fighter. I just can't remember the name. That's okay though. That's deep cuts. Haha. Alright. Warforged fighter. So Warforged is not something you see a lot of. You don't get a lot of Warforged. So this is going to be really cool for you. And these are official D&D Warforged. So, like I had a bunch of HeroClix that I debased that were, human-sized robot-type golems that I have for Warforged. But this is going to give you more variety. And, this would be a more expensive option, but just as cool. Okay. Sahagin. Now, you guys know these guys. These are those evil, nasty fish people. If I remember right, they worship sharks, or the sharks hang out with them, something like that. There's so many ocean-based enemies in D&D. But those, yeah, I believe sharks run with their leaders. They have sharks going with them, and it makes them pretty dangerous. Tieflings. You know, I've said it many times. I'm a huge fan of the 2nd edition Tiefling from Planescape, which was plain touched, as opposed to the 4th edition version, which is a race all its own. In that it has a uniform appearance, because I really love the fact that your tiefling could be different than anybody else. Maybe you had a forked tongue, maybe you had horns protruding from anywhere. Didn't have to be just your head. Anyway, we'll get into that. Next up. Next up is a Doulahan from Deep Cuts. This is actually a real creature, yeah, from the mythology of the Gaelic people, as I recall, and it's cool. It's the Headless Horseman, guys. So you want the Headless Horseman? Get the Doulahan from Deep Cuts. And yeah, it's a nice little model. I don't have any problems with that. It's got the nice little translucent base, the same kind of thing you saw with the Beholder. Here's some actual official gnolls. Now, if you'll notice, these gnolls are a lot bigger than the Deep Cuts gnolls. I really like the sculpts on the Deep Cuts gnolls, but the size just killed it for me. These are nice. This is a good, yeah. You can never have enough gnolls. Gnolls are amazing creatures, and if you play them right, yeah, you can really do something with them. They don't, and you can play them as player characters now because they are humanoids. Next up, Furbolg. Here, I'm gonna spread these out a little bit. We're getting a little bunched up here. A little bunched up. Yep. There we go. That's a little better. Alright, Furbolg is a giant kin race from, well, back in the day they were red-headed and looked like dwarves, but nowadays they have their own kind of elvish look, which were the Voltkin, as I remember back in the day. But either way, they're cool. They're fey, giant kin. And they're a PC race. Alright. More Magic the Gathering. Stormforge Mystic and Core Hookmaster. So again, Magic the Gathering, the board game, right, has these characters in it. So now you have alternate sculpts. If you're really serious about that game, man, that would be really cool to put down on the table. Alright. And I bought a lot of minis, guys, so bear with me. Half-Elf Bard, a miniature. Very cool, very exciting, very bardish. What else can you say? Alright, Elf Wizard with translucent effects. Oh man, that's really cool right there, isn't it? Yeah, look at that. They're like a flaming whip. Nice. Elf Wizard. The lovely translucent effect. This is again from the Nolgers line, and it is a male, despite any lack of a description. Ooh, now this. Ooh, look at this, guys. Oh wow, look at that. Isn't that neat? Here, I'll turn it this way. This is Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice, from the Magic the Gathering line. It's a really cool angel. It could be any of your ASMR. Okay, so next up is the Darkling Elder. The Darkling Elder and the Darklings. So apparently, I've actually read about these. it's a race of Underdark dwellers who move very fast. And if I remember right, or they hide in the shadows. No, I'm thinking of Quicklings. Darklings they were subterranean though, and they were castaways. That's what it was, exiles. And they didn't like surface dwellers. I can't remember if they were evil or not though. Alright. Now, we have Orc Adventurers. So, if you want to play an Orc, this is the box for you. You only have 2 options. Apparently it's a barbarian and a sorcerer, it looks like. And both are male from the look of them. Yeah. I mean, you could argue that the sorcerer there can be painted up as a female pretty easily. Plenty more to go. So let's get going. Where to begin? Here we go. A bronze wormling and a pile of sea-found treasure. So this treasure is in the sea with old Bronzy here. And if you remember bronze dragons like I do, they are the most like those annoying paladins we were talking about. Yeah, kind of annoying. Easily, even if your party is good in nature, easily could be a wonderful adventure as an enemy. Not necessarily, to the death kind of enemy, but definitely a antagonist. Because they could be pointing the party in the quote-unquote right direction. Okay, Dragonborn Paladin, since we're in the reptilian vein here. A Dragonborn Paladin. Okay, so we have lots of Dragonborn. I will say one thing about these Wizkid lines. If you're into Dragonborn, you now have a lot of options. A lot of options that you didn't have a few years ago. You got a lot of options you didn't have a few years ago. So, that is an amazing thing. Okay, this is getting interesting. So these are Pathfinder, and they started doing that. But, Cultist and Devil. So I don't know what kind of Devil or Cultist, but honestly, they look like that could be any number of really cool things. Yeah, and it's got the translucent mini, so definitely some definite possibilities with this. This could be a major antagonist in your story, a major villain. Actually, this could be a lich up top there, or any number of fiends on Earth. Kind of walking around amongst them, which is always dangerous. Okay, Elf Wizard. I mean, what is that fiend up to? Why is he, here? And get your banishment spells ready. Okay, so we got another wizard. This one appears to be female. Very cool. Very nice. And the suggested artwork back there actually looks pretty good on this one. They got some nice effects going on. Yeah. And moving right along. More goblins. Now, Pathfinders, they tell us what the gender is, what to expect. So we got 2 packs of male goblins. They're not the same goblins, are they? No, totally different goblins. So that is really cool. Lots of goblin options. The only downside is, if you remember the original goblin pack, excellent. So we have another male goblin fighter. And as we discussed earlier, you can never have too many male goblin fighters. Male goblin fighters are the bestest ever. And you can play them as PCs without any negatives. Yay! Because, who wants to have negatives when you're playing a character? Although I do recall, back in the 2nd edition days, having a lot of fun playing characters with negative stats. Here we go. Oh, so now we can do what I wanted to do earlier. Excellent. So, We had the MTG goblins. And yeah, here they are. Here we go. We can do what I wanted to do earlier. So, goblins and the goblin boss. But if you look here, look, now we've got 3 different types of goblins. Okay? 3 different types of goblins. 3 different types of goblins to call our own. And that's, you could literally have 3 separate goblin tribes. Now, the big-headed, pointy-ear kind, the standard. Now, it'd be interesting to pull out the first wave goblins and see if these are in scale with those, because they seem a little smallish. But, you know what? Goblins aren't all going to be the same size. So that's fine. That's fine. I have no problem with that. So those are really cool. The goblins and the goblin boss. What's the goblin boss doing? What makes him the boss? I don't even know which one is the boss. Do you guys? Tell me in the comments if you know who's the boss. Alright, next up. Nightmare. Now this is a model I probably should have got a couple of. The Nightmare. Really cool. And it's translucent too, so you're really going to be able to really paint up that fire. Yeah. Well, not paint it, ink it up. Yep. And with the right lighting, man, that's going to look cool. All right, another tiefling set. This is the sorcerers. The tiefling, the sorcerers. I know there's another set of tiefling sorcerers. So are these female? They are. Okay, so there you go. The female tiefling sorcerers. And there's that. Who doesn't love a good female tiefling sorcerer? Now, I especially like this one. Another one of our dragon wormlings. I haven't mentioned it this video, but the wormlings are oversized. I think all the dragons in this line are oversized. Well, age category wise. So I think this is a young dragon. Well, not yet, like it's bigger than a wormling. But it comes with a halfling. Little bar winch looking halfling. Quite honestly, that bar winch is worth what I paid for this whole pack. Because you could use her as a waitress in any bar scene in any town that you want. And that is, I mean, worth the price of admission, because unique miniatures like that, really, that could be a beloved NPC with a name and just somebody the party really adores. Nancy, we'll call her. All right, Magic the Gathering. Nancy Brittlebottom. Okay. Coral Helm Commander and Halimar Wave Watch. So I'm guessing these are merfolk or sea elves. Let me look at them. Tritons. They can be Tritons in D&D. And really cool because that is a PC race. So definitely some overlap there. Oh, right. Now this is a little bit of heaven and hell. Yeah, so they gave us a diva and Eranez. Now, technically speaking, and I don't know why Gygax did this. I'm assuming he did it. I don't think Cook would do this. So, the Eranez were actually goddesses, and in Greek mythology, of a sort. They were like more like forces of nature, really. but you could consider them goddesses, and they were the Furies. So they lived in Hades, and yeah, they were nasty, nasty things. But in D&D terms, the Arañas, or however you want to say it, are devils. Okay, female devils. It's kind of their equivalent to a succubus, except instead of being sensuous and luring men to their death, they specialized in warfare. They were generals in the armies or high-ranking officers. They were great warriors, like Valkyries, like evil Valkyries. Okay. Oh, this is cool. Oh boy. The Flump! Everyone loves the Flump. Everyone needs a Flump in their life, okay? Now this creature, there was a comic, web comic that I can recommend. Giants in the Playground is the website. If you go there, there's this really cool comic. Read it and you'll understand why. Every time I see a Flump, I just giggle. Because they feature prominently in the comic. It's amazing stuff. So yeah, can't recommend that enough. Okay. Lucrata. And I gotta say, this is a creature. It's been around a long time. I never once used it. Never once. So it's one I've looked over. I may have to stop doing that because. But yeah, it never seemed all that interesting at first glance. But we are running out of room here. But it is, looking more cat-like. But it's got hooves, But as I recall, in the second edition of Player's Handbook, it looked similar, but it was a bit skinnier and more dog-like. But it's close. It's close. These creatures kind of change and mutate over time. Oh, here we go. So, you see another thing they've changed is the Nolgers used to be up top. Now it's down here at the bottom. So that's how you know it's the Nolgers line, the official D&D line. Hobgoblin Devastator and the Iron Shadow. So I have no idea what that is, but I like it because hobgoblins, which can be PCs now, are just really, I think, underappreciated enemies because, they are nothing like their chaotic cousins, the little short goblins, or the bugbears. Yeah, they're much more dangerous because they use tactics and strategy, and they have better equipment and training. And just trust me, if you do hobgoblins right, they can be a real menace. All right, Sea Hag and Beer Hag. Beer Hag? The Hag of Beer, and I have a one of these that's actually been painted, and it's a lot bigger than this in scale from one of the lines. I wish I had it handy, but it's interesting that the scale kind of shifts on these. Anytime you get 3 hags, it doesn't matter what kind, you have something special, okay? The Coven, and they get special powers that makes them very dangerous adversaries. And if done right by the DM, you can really put a hurting, make a whole quest out of just taking out the hags, which is really cool. So I like that there's a lot of variety there. The Human Barbarian, again, this one female. This is not the first iteration, but it does have a horn. So would it be a barbarian? Bardbarian. There it is. I'm going to call this the Bardbarian pack. Really cool, though. I like it. I think that's a great sculpt. I can definitely see some really cool uses for it. And I know you can too. All right, here's a creature you don't see every day. The Jackalware. The Jackalware is a jackal that can make itself look like a humanoid, if I remember right. That's kind of what makes or maybe it's the Wolfware. The Wolfware and the Jackalware, right? So you have a werewolf and a Wolfware, and this is a Jackalware. So I'm going to assume it's the same way. It's actually a jackal, and it's a spirit being, or at least in second edition. It wasn't a lycanthrope like werewolf. It was more like an evil spirit that could take the form of something like a lycanthrope. It was very nasty. I remember you thinking of the Wolfware though, but there used to be a Wolfware and a werewolf, and they were really different. And it was cool times back then. You know, listen, it was a lot meaner back then. All right, here we go. We're in the deep cuts. Oh, I see. It says deep cuts down here. So it doesn't say Pathfinder battles on this one, but it says deep cuts. This is a giant scorpion. Really cool. I like it. Yeah, I really thought that would be translucent. It's fine, but you know what? A hot glue gun, and you can make one of these. Actually, that'd be translucent too, though, wouldn't it? So, and you can put the PC in there, right? So that's a good time. I like it. I take it back, but I think it was a little pricier. And okay, the Grick and the Grick Alpha Grick. What a prick. So these are some really cool creatures. If you're looking at the Reaper version, it's called a Chthon or Zathon or something like that. I think it's Chthon. That model's cool. It's about the same size as the smaller Grick here. About the same size as the smaller Grick here. Yeah, you can never have too many Gricks. I've always said that. Grells and Gricks. Everybody needs them. Grells are a little creepier. They're both creepy though. Alright, this one actually concerns me. Have we run out of concepts and ideas to the point where we're doing zombie everything? And more importantly, now I get that a PC probably made this zombie. If you're playing a Necromancer, this would be a really cool mini. And I'm not saying they shouldn't make this mini. I'm just saying, are we already there? Because a zombie ogre is not going to be something you encounter often. And if you do, it's a weaker version of an actual ogre. But this model is not cheap. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going for here. These bigger models, they're not cheap. So why am I going to pay the big bucks for this Knowles Yours official D&D zombie? Unless there's an adventure. Maybe there's some special adventure that I don't know about because I homebrew. But I don't know, man. I don't know what the market for this is at that price point because you can get an ogre and you can paint this up to be alive. I don't know. Maybe I'm nuts. Okay, this one's interesting. The Venom Troll. Again, these are pricey. These are $8, $9, $10. And this one really isn't that big. Honestly, a few series ago, this would have been a $4 model. So, I don't know, because the Ettin's a better deal than this guy. He's about the same size, if not a little smaller. So, I don't know. But it's neat. It's neat. A Venom Troll. You can never have too many trolls. I've always said that. Alright. This is the Raging Troll. It's the same troll from Wave 1. only more expensive. I mean, it's a different pose. At least I'm pretty sure it's a different pose. Yeah, because the other one's got his arm out. Instead of out to the side, they're more out in front of him. But I mean, it looks like the same troll. And I don't know, it's not doing... the price is just shifted, because this was a $4 model, now it's an $8 model. So I might have to watch out for these now. The completionist in me has to stop, because really I don't feel the values there in those. The 3D, I think you're better off getting the deep cuts of 3D. They cost less, honestly, and has more to it. There's the translucent. I mean, it's not a bad model. It's not a bad sculpt, but I think you can do better. I think that deep cuts of 3D, is a better deal. Same thing here. Let's look at this. This is an amazing model. I'm glad I got one. But what if I wanted more than one roper? What if I wanted to send the party at several ropers? 3. I know, I get it. They're solitary most of the time. But say they're breeding at that moment or whatever. And let's say, I think they butt off. They're like asexual. But they're hanging out. I know that occasionally you'll run into more than one roper. Okay? So, Reaper has a roper. They're not allowed to call it a roper. There's the dark lurker, I think it's called. But it's $3-4 cheaper than this. And it's almost as nice as sculpt. This is actually really cool. I'm not mad I got one, but if I were wanting more than one, I'd look at that Reaper option. Because this is going to cost you $10, guys. You're going to pay $10 for that thing. Okay. Bone Naga's cool. Now this is something. It's a little bigger, a little less, common to run into. Could be a major villain or henchman of a major villain. Could be a bone golem. More versatile miniature. So I can see paying more for this. Okay? How many raging trolls do you need? These cost the same amount. Okay? But if I need a bone naga, that's worthwhile. I don't have a problem with this one. Just, they're all great. They're all fine. It's just, again, I don't know if they got greedy, but this would have been a $4 model in any set. And it cost me $7.19. So, you tell me what went wrong there. Because the Reaper, not the quarter, is, I would say, as good as sculpt, and about $3-4 less. So, well, its bone's black, so it's probably $6. So it's a buck and a half less. But and here's another thing: this Gorgon. Again, very expensive. It's not a bad little mini, gotta say. There are some mold lines on it, especially right in here, up above the head, down below the head actually, in this region. And you'll have to fill that with putty, but that's par for the course for this line. So not the end of the world. Not a bad little mini there. Oh, by the way, that was a giant constrictor snake. That one we just saw. Giant constrictor snake. This is the Vanderhob. A Vanderhob is some kind of weird, creepy, demonic frog that swallows you whole and eats your soul. And they live in the Shadowfell. And, this is some deep cut stuff. Not deep cuts literally, because it's actually Nolgers, but man, they're really going deep with the creatures, though, which is cool. Alright, Manicore. Manicore. We're really got to move fast here, guys. I gotta say, this Manicore is pretty cool. I would caution, though, that you might want to look at other lines, because these are $8-9 each, and that is not a steal when you consider you can get a similar mini for much less from another company. And the quality difference is negligible, if existent at all. And another problem, same problem with this miniature, the Ankeg. The Ankeg is an insectoid being. Very cool monster. It spits acid at the party, and it makes for a great foe. But this model, I mean, you can get similar models for half the price or less. So that's my issue with it. It's not that it's a bad model. It's a fine model. It's just that they've upped the prices here, guys. And that's, I mean, here's a Jinn. Jinn are genies of air, because each genie will have an element that they represent. The Jinn or Johnny? No, Johnny's a different type of genie. Anyway, I don't know what the plural of Jinn. Ginny? So Jinn is plural and Ginny is single. Okay, singular. All right, yeah, Ginny, Jinn. Very cool. Same problem though I have with the others. Now this pack, I'm a little interested in, a little more interesting to me than these other ones at this price point, because you actually get 5 miniatures. Okay, now it's supposed to be some sort of Obzadat Ghost Council. I don't know what that means. I don't, it's a magic card, whatever it is. But if you look, you're getting 5 miniatures for $8. You can paint these however you want, so it doesn't have to be clear and translucent. You could actually paint these up like real people. So I think this is a much more reasonable price than some of these other ones. This one I won't begrudge either, because it's so epic, not in scale and size, but the fact that they brought this out. This is a real D&D classic. This is from first edition days. The old statue with the gem eyes, and you pull out the eye and the statue comes to life. Yeah, the idol unpossessed sacred statue. Yeah, I mean, it's a really cool concept. I believe in the art for the old Dungeon Master's Guide, the first edition DMG had this on it. My only issue with it is it's not as big, so they scaled it down, because in the original it was actually a pretty good sized statue. It's not that big of a statue. So I don't know, but just the fact that they tried it's really cool. This is a Nalfeshni demon. I have shown you guys, if you look at my video for the pre-painted Hasbro minis, I actually pulled a Nalfeshni demon there. I mean, this sculpt's cool, but the size is a little on the small side. However, the boar demon from Reaper is much cheaper and much bigger. The detail lacks a little bit because it's Bones 1, but I'm just saying, for the money, I don't usually, I'm just really annoyed with the prices on these things. They should be $4 minis. If they were $4 or $5, I'd be fine with it. $8, $9, I got a problem, because you can do better. You can do better. Now that I'm done complaining, we're going to get into the good stuff, okay? One area where Wizkids excels. Hold that thought. We got one more of these size large minis. It's a cloaker. Now the cloaker is a really cool creature. Underutilized, I think. They are very intelligent, very dangerous foes. Underdark certified, and let me tell you, properly played, this guy could be a boss, like the big bad at the end. They have a lot of cool abilities. They fly. They're virtually impossible to see in the Underdark. Lot of potential there, and they're really intelligent. And I mean, I think they're underutilized. I always have. All right. Anyway, now for where Wizkids excels. Castle Kingdom Retainers. Okay, so these little sets. Now, what you have here in front of you is a whole set of servants and accoutrements for a castle setting. So if you were to enter the castle or enter the king's service, role-playing, you could literally use this set as a backdrop and paint it up and make the castle seem, you know, a little more at home. And the furniture and stuff you can use for any setting. You know, even if you're using 2D terrain, these little accoutrements are really going to pop that room. And it's going to give you a lot of variability. You know, because you can mix and match. Same thing with this set. So you're getting a lot for your money here. You're getting, well, let's look at the back. It'll tell us what we're getting. We're getting, first of all, we're getting a whole bunch of people, right? We're getting Vikings. We're getting freemen. We're getting all kinds of just peasants. We're getting peasants. We're getting all kinds of cool Viking stuff. So you want a Viking village? You know, you got a Viking village right here. And, you know, barbarians, all. And look at all those minis. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different dudes. And then a bunch of accoutrements and furniture and barrels. Who doesn't need more barrels, right? Same lines. Now this is getting really cool. I actually really like this. It's probably my favorite of the bunch. Royal Court. So you want to see the king. I can't tell you. It's like a trope in these games. Go see the king, the trope, right? It is so popular and used. And now you have the king. Yeah. And, you know, maybe you want to use your own mini for the king. You got one specially picked. Maybe it's an old PC that's retired. Well, you can pull out that PC and just put it with his daughter and son, the prince and princess. You could paint these up as whatever you want them to be, too. The jester there. I mean, how can you go wrong with this, guys? A lot of potential there. Those are like $20 a set, so not a terrible buy. Not a terrible buy. I really like this one. This one's really cool. This is Asperia, the Law Incarnate. But what it really is a Sphinx. And let me tell you, good Sphinx minis are hard to find. Looks like a Gyno Sphinx. And this is actually superior to the Reaper equivalent in every way. Better detail, better size. This is the big bad or big good, depending on what kind of campaign you're running. This really has potential, and even if you didn't use it as an actual Sphinx, you could use this as a statue and a backdrop for something. I mean, there's a lot of possibility for this. But I would recommend just painting it as a Sphinx. This is definitely a nice freaking mini. And I believe it was like 15 bucks, 14 or 15 bucks. So really a good deal, really a good bargain. When you consider that those other minis I was complaining about are $8 to $10, and you're getting that one for 15, you really can see. Let me just give a demonstration real quick. You can really see the difference in where your money's going here, because that's a lot more mini than that. There's a lot more mini there. Just so much more mini and so much more of a bargain. I think this line really fails in the large range, but does great in the huge and the medium and smalls. But there's just something about paying $8 to $10 for a large mini that just really doesn't do much for it, honestly. Now, here we go. This is where this range is good. Here's a frog hemoth. A frog hemoth is a really cool swamp baddie that you'll run into. Now imagine if this one of these and a black dragon teamed up, right? Now you got a really cool campaign idea. Your party thinks that they're just dealing with a blackie, but instead they got to deal with his friend. And how does he keep his friend? He feeds him bullywugs, which we have the miniature for, don't we? We showed that earlier. There you go, guys. There's a campaign idea for a swamp adventure. These guys are epic, man. Reaper does have a frog hemoth miniature, but it costs quite a bit more. It is a lot bigger, though. And if you really want to be swampy, the Reaper mini could be his dad or her mom. The big, like a dire frog hemoth. So, but for the price, this one's fine because it costs a fair bit less. Oh, this is really cool. This is the Air Elemental. It is huge. It's a $15 mini, guys. $15 mini, and you don't even really need to paint anything but the base on this thing. You don't really need to paint anything but the base on this. It is ready to rock. That's why it's bluish, I guess, because typically these things are completely clear. So they've already dyed it or something, because it's already got a blue hue to it. I think it's ready to go right out of the box, other than the base. So, yeah, it's a honking mini. This thing's heavy. This thing has some weight on it. It's really cool. So, this one, I don't know anything about Pathfinder. I gotta say, I thought it was bigger than it was when I bought it. It is cool. It's a nice sculpt. I don't know what it is. I would use it as some sort of maybe abyssal dragon creature. Or something lower planar. But it's on the smaller side. But it's really cool. Or it could be something on the Shadowfell. But it's a dragon alternate. I don't know anything about Pathfinder. It's on the smaller side though. So unless you really have a specific use for this, I can't really recommend it. But I'm also not totally opposed to it. Because it is a really cool sculpt. This one is a bit overpriced. I don't know anything about Pathfinder, but this Minotaur is not that big. Because it's sold as one of these large minis. It is a cool sculpt, so maybe that's what it is. For the price, I think it's a little overpriced, but I'm not gonna poo-poo on it because there are a lot of cool aspects to the sculpt. You got the translucent sword. There's a lot of potential there to really do a lot of artsy stuff with the paint job. So you could do a lot worse than this line. Here's the huge fire elemental lord. So you're looking at, you know, a being of pure chaos and flame. And of course it's a female, because why wouldn't it? It's not as huge as the air elemental, but it is a really cool sculpt, and it's translucent. Definitely could be a showpiece if you really did it up, or you could just, you know, hit it with some dyes and inks and washes. Now this is the Diving Griffin. Scale-wise, it's much better than the Wave 1 Griffin, which was too small. But, on the other hand, this is not fully painted, guys, but just to give you an idea. This mini from Reaper, which is relatively close in size, is about half the price. So, I mean, you decide, you know, what do you want to pay for? I don't know. I don't know what you want to pay for. Don't laugh at the paint job. It's not done yet. Okay, so, yeah, roughly the same size. This one's a little bigger, but it also costs twice as much. So, I don't know. It's not bad though. It's a cool sculpt. So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But some of these are really good. If you want a giant ape, this is the mini to get. Yep. King Kong never had it so good. Oh yeah, you knew that he would. I mean, it's a giant ape. And I mean, it's really giant. It's not huge. This thing is, I mean, well, it is huge, but I mean, it's not large. It's huge. This is a big freaking ape. And it's cool. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. There's nothing wrong with that mini. It is as advertised. All right. Getting closer, guys. We're getting closer. This one is probably one. I've saved some of the coolest ones for last. So this one is possibly the coolest miniature in this whole box. It is a storm giant. And let me tell you, you do not want to mess with these. No. They are mighty foes. And, well, you know, so much so that even dragons are scared of these things. And they're paragons of virtue, but don't make them mad, kind of thing. So, yeah. Storm Giants. Don't piss them off. Cool sculpt, everything you'd expect. I can't wait for the Reaper Bones 5 one to come out. We could do a compare and contrast video. Let me know in the comments if you think that would be fun. This, I'm saving the best for last, guys. This is really cool. Rakdos, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Rakdos, Lord of Riots. Lord of Riots, what a riot. Now, that is a cool freaking mini. I really like this Magic the Gathering line. I don't know anything about Magic the Gathering, but I can think this could be a demon prince or a devil prince. A major devil, a player. And you know what I'm saying? Like something major, something big. This is an end boss of all end bosses. Or it could just be somebody you run into when you cast a summoning spell gone awry. Oops. You don't want to see this guy. Okay. Not only that, it's just a really cool sculpt. I mean, there's a lot going on there. You could have a lot of fun painting this. I can't recommend these last few minis enough, guys. These are pretty much must-haves as far as I'm concerned. If you like minis. And this last one is probably my favorite of the whole bunch. It is Borbogaimus. Borbogaimus, okay? He is what you think of when you think of a Cyclops. a greater Cyclops, not the lesser Cyclops. But this is a mini to take note of. This is a mini to fear. If your party sees this guy, he's going to be like, they're going to be like, whoa, run away. This thing is intimidating, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun to paint. There's a lot of details on this. And this is one place where the Wizkids line really stands out. The detail compared to Bones. But Bones has stepped up their game. Reaper's stepped up their game. And we live in a very blessed time to have all these options out there. So these kind of minis, if Wizkids can keep this up, they're going to be cool in my book. This kind of stuff, if they can reduce the price by half, I'm in. Otherwise, I'll just get my giant snakes for half the price somewhere else. Even if it is licensed by D&D or No Jurors, whatever. So there you go, guys. That's our tape. I want you to find all the miniatures of your dreams while you're awake. I want you to stay safe in these trying times. And I want to thank you for watching the video. If you like the video, I want you to like. I want you to subscribe. I want you to make comments. Even bad comments. I will respond. I promise. All right. Thank you for watching. Take care. They don't call it deep cuts anymore. It's now Pathfinder Battles. No. Totally different frequency. And then the sterling coin. Ding, ding. Ding, ding.